everyone, and thanks so much for watching Restaurant Recap. I'm your host, Matt Fortin, and today we have a special guest. We are being joined today by Bob Wong, the operator of the famous Kowloon restaurant in Saugus, Massachusetts. Bob, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, it is a big day for the Kowloon, a big anniversary, 75 years. How are you guys celebrating?
We're throwing a big bash outdoors. We're calling it a block party. It was actually supposed to be last night, but naturally with the weather, we were fortunate enough to have a couple of bands that were really working with us to have a rain date, and we didn't know we were going to need it, but as everybody knows, we did need it yesterday, and here we are today. So we have actually three great bands playing, and we're going to hopefully knock it out of the park. And we have great neighbors, so we made it into a block party. So it's all outdoors, and we're expecting over 1,000 people.
I mean, you can't do anything small for 75 years of the Kowloon, right? I mean, what does that anniversary mean for your family? That is a big milestone.
Yeah, it just means that we were able to survive for 75 years. We were given a great start by our parents. They took it over from my grandparents, and from there they grew the business to be one of the largest restaurants, if not the largest restaurant in America. And we were handed over the reins, and hopefully we're doing a pretty good job. Hopefully, so we'll make them proud.
Yeah, yeah, I know you are. And I want to hear about how this all started. So I know that what we know the Kowloon as today started in 1950, 75 years ago, and it was originally called the Mandarin House, I was reading. And your family took it over in 1958. But tell me a little bit about how this restaurant started and how your family became the owners of it.
Well, in 1950, it was my grandparents on my mother's side that started the restaurant. It was an ice cream parlor, and they took it over, and it was about 40, 50 seats, and they made it into a Chinese restaurant. And there weren't a lot of Chinese restaurants outside of Boston, actually, and especially Route 1 in Saugus. And Route 1 back then doesn't even look close to what it was now. My parents took it over in 1958, and they grew the restaurants from that 40, 50 seats into 1,200 seats after a number of additions, probably about 4 or 5 additions. As business kind of like blossomed, they were able to keep adding on. And the last edition, which was the largest edition, which really doubled the restaurant size, was in 1971, 1972, right around there.
And tell me about, so what's the capacity now? It's like over 1,000 or something crazy, right?
Yeah, it is 1,200. And when COVID hit, we opened outdoors like everybody else did, and we made it into a drive-in movie venue. Because people had to be apart from each other. So we did that. And after COVID started to wane, people wanted something different other than a drive-in movie. So we ended up doing concerts, and it's large enough to hold 600 people. So when we're really indoors and outdoors, like in the summer, we actually have a capacity of about 1,800.
Jeez. And I mean, you guys do everything from, you have karaoke, you have comedy, you have open mic nights, you have bands, right. Bingo. I mean, so it's really more than just a restaurant. I mean, what would you describe Kowloon as? Because I think it goes far beyond a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of at one point try to brand it kind of like the premier Asian restaurant, dining, and entertainment complex. So not only do we have different types of Asian food. Actually, we had the Polynesian back in the days. We have Chinese, we have Szechuan, we have Thai, and we added sushi. And there's other maybe different types of Asian food that we might add in the near future. So we have a multi-Asian style restaurant. But in addition to that, we went heavy into the entertainment part. So like you mentioned, we have karaoke, we have bingo, we have open mic night. We have a lot of concerts, especially outdoors. And today, which is our 75th anniversary party, we actually have 3 bands, and it's going to be a huge concert outside.
Look, my mom was in the restaurant business for a family restaurant business for decades, and I hear stories about running a family restaurant business and how hard it was, the crazy stories they have just keeping this thing running. I mean, what is the most enjoyable part of this whole thing for your family?
I think and it's funny, I brought it up, was brought up one time. My father and I happened to visit a colleague of his that owned a restaurant way out in Springfield. And this is when maybe 30 years, 40 years ago. And I remember, and I always kept it in my head after he said it. He was talking with my father, and he said it to my father, we're very lucky that we get to see our family every day because there was the family business such as ours. So I think when you talk about family businesses, the fact that you get to see your family every day it's a blessing. You may not think so sometimes when you're fighting among yourselves and have to, especially when we were young, we would fight and have to go home together. But the fact that we're able to see each other every day and work together side by side, and you know, at some point you don't think you don't realize how much of a blessing it is, especially when my parents were alive. We were able to do it with my parents, and now we do it with the siblings. And we've settled into a very good place where we all get along great. And we know we're all getting older. So, you know, there's an end more, we're closer to the end than the beginning. So I think we're just stepping back a little bit and just looking at, you know, how much fun it was during this journey. So it's been great. So.
What do you think is next for the Kowloon, though? Because I know we talked last year when your family opened up Nine Dragons up at the Brook Casino in Seabrook, New Hampshire. And, you know, it's a different name, but it's still your family. It's a different experience. And at that time, you told me that you guys were thinking about maybe licensing out the name Kowloon to other locations.
Yeah.
What's the plan for the future?
That is still in the works. In Seabrook, it's a managing partnership that we have, so we don't own that outright. We have great partners in the Brook Casino, so we're very fortunate for that. And we jumped at the chance to open a place in the casino, because who wouldn't want to open a place in a casino nowadays? But as the future goes on, especially once we downsize and actually the building will get knocked down and develop this property, we are looking at possibly licensing. Still, it's you know, we're on the verge of discussing with some people that would want to license the name and still kind of like grow the business that way, rather than having to work it day to day as much. But it would be a different type of work. And I think we have the next generation looks to be the ones that would take over that, including my sons.
What are the plans for the current building in terms of how long that will
It's
be
gonna
there?
well, it will get knocked down eventually, and it's probably in the nearer future than further away. We're planning on building two buildings, two apartment buildings, and about 200 apartments combined. And on each floor of the buildings, we're planning on putting a retail space, and one of the retail space in one of the buildings will be a Kowloon restaurant. Naturally, it's a totally different model at that point, because we're not going to have 1,200 seats. It'd be about 20,000 square feet, which would include the kitchen and maybe a commissary for future expansion. So we could still be 200 or 300 seats at least. So it's still a good sized restaurant, but it's going to be a different restaurant, and definitely under the Kowloon name with the same food, same recipes. But it's going to be a different vibe and different feeling. We're looking, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's going to be bittersweet when they knock the building down, because this is a place that I've been going here for over 50 years, driving to work. So
bittersweet for you, and I know a lot of people too. And I wonder too, I mean, you know, they say imitation is the biggest form of flattery. I wonder if through the years you've seen other types of restaurants spring up that look like they're kind of maybe copying you guys a little bit.
Yeah, I think, like you said, imitation's the best form of flattery, but there's a point where you're imitating, and the other thing is you're trying to kind of like, you know, get people to have an idea that it might be one of our restaurants, which actually it isn't. But you know, at this point, we don't look at it that way, but we look at it as in terms of the fact that people either have the design similar or some of the same menu items. It's a free country, like they said, so we're fine with that. As long as we're doing well, we really don't have to really worry about, you know, other people, and everybody's out to survive, so we're fine with that. We all live together. We can all do business at the same time.
Was the Kowloon always going to be in Saugus? Was there any chance it was going to be in another town?
I don't know. I think when my grandparents took it over in 1950, I think they saw the potential. It was on a major route, especially the one going out to New Hampshire, and they looked at the potential, and they were had the great foresight to pick this location. And my mother and father had the foresight to realize that it was going to be growing and expanded as time went on.
What are some of the craziest dishes or drinks that you guys have served over the years?
Uh, we used to well with the volcano is a it's a massive bowl that people love to share. So that's one of our favorites to serve. But naturally, the Mai Tai is the all-time favorite when it comes to the number one seller. And we actually just started putting the Mai Tai in a can. We found a person that would actually work with us to put the Mai Tai in a can with the alcohol in it. And so we just started maybe a couple of weeks ago. And we actually slapped on the label with the Kowloon label, but also put it as the 75th year anniversary edition. So if you buy those cans, which you only can buy them in the restaurant, you can't buy them to go. You'll have a special edition Mai Tai in a can. And who knows? It might end up going into package stores and things like that. So,
exciting, something to look for.
right.
Did you have you had like, and I'm sure the answer is yes, famous faces show up throughout the years? Who are the most famous people that you guys have had come through and have a meal?
Well, right now because it's we had a lot back in the days, and like Jerry Seinfeld and Phyllis Diller, people like that. But those are older. But the most recent one would definitely be John Cena or The Rock. Not only are they big name in stature, but they happen to be great guys, and they're probably at the peak of their careers as well. So they're probably the biggest names right now, besides all the sports figures that we used to have. And we had a lot. We had Roger Clemens during his prime, and Wade Boggs, a lot of the Red Sox players, a lot of the Celtics, a lot of the Bruins during their prime as well. So we've had a good run as we go along. There's different great celebrities during that era. And as we get to this era now, I would definitely say that John Cena and The Rock, not only are they great big figures, larger than life, but they're probably the two nicest guys that we've ever met as well.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
So your family has decades and decades of experience in running a restaurant and an entertainment complex. What are the biggest lessons that you feel like you've learned over the years, and what would you tell another family who has a business or wants to start one?
Well, it's a lot of hard work, especially the restaurant business. So you basically have to love the business. Otherwise, this is a business that you can easily get frustrated and not want to and stay in it as well. But every day is different. That's the other thing. That's if you're looking at something that's not boring, this definitely is not a boring business. Every day you come into work, it's going to be a different experience, and versus not that other businesses are not as interesting, but this one definitely is interesting because we deal with so much of the public, and the workforce is so large because it's very labor intensive. So there's always something going on, whether it's a challenge or whether it's something very rewarding that we see happen.
Yeah. Well, I know today is going to be a very rewarding day for you and the rest of your family. I know you have a big block party to get to setting up and planning. Anything else come to mind, Bob, as you reflect on 75 years?
Other than it's been a great run. We've enjoyed it not only from the standpoint of seeing people happy as they leave and create memories, because we always have people saying they remember the time when they first came in the restaurant with their parents, or their first date, or their prom, and things like that. And so we're very proud of all the memories we've been able to create for people. But at the same time, we're able to have a workforce that was able to earn a great living, hopefully. And, we provided a lot of jobs for a lot of people. So we're very proud of that. And hopefully we gave back a lot to the community as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't want to press you too much on it, but I know people are going to want to know with what you're saying. I mean, how much longer for this current form of the Kowloon that people have known for
Yeah.
so long.
I know we that question's been asked for the last few years, and I always keep thinking it's going to be another year or two, and it gets kind of like pushed back. Not because that I'm ready to make it 1 or 2 years, so I really think it's probably another year or two, and hopefully we get to the next chapter.
All right, well, we'll be keeping a lookout for that and wishing you guys luck on your next chapter for
Thank you.
sure.
I
So,
really appreciate that.
all right, well, thank you, Bob, so much for joining us
Thank you.
today, and
Thank
congratulations
you very
again.
much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.